Well, hello everyone. In our scripture passage for today, we see the devil tempting Jesus in the wilderness. But before we take a closer look at this passage, we wanted to ask you about things you find the most tempting. Let's see what you said.
Playing video games when you're not supposed to.
The Reese's, Kit Kats, and a lot of candy. I just really want to open the presents for Christmas, but my mom and dad doesn't wake up in time. It's tempting to spend my money even when I'm trying to save it. Just throwing my clothes in the laundry so I don't have to hang them up.
I would agree that many of those things you mentioned do sound very tempting, but the devil did not tempt Jesus with any of the things that you mentioned. First, the devil tempted Jesus to turn stones into bread when he was very hungry. Next, the devil tempted Jesus to jump off the top of the temple and force the angels to rescue him so that he didn't get hurt. And finally, the devil tempted Jesus with the power to rule as king over everyone and everything on earth. And all of this might seem a little strange, right? First, Jesus is God and perfectly good. So how could the devil even tempt him in the first place? And second, the ways that the devil tempted him seem very different from the things we mentioned earlier that might tempt us. Why did the devil choose them? Well, even though Jesus did resist each and every temptation, he was also still fully human. So just like you and I get tempted to sin, Jesus felt that temptation too. But where you and I get it wrong, Jesus never gave into that temptation. And even though the temptations that Jesus faced may not seem all that special at first, they represent something important. The three ways that the devil tempted Jesus represent all the temptations we mentioned earlier and more. They represent every temptation you and I will ever experience. They represent every way you and I might turn away from God and focus on what we want instead. And that brings us to the main point of the passage. You and I will give in to temptation and sin at some point. And that can be really sad and frustrating, especially if we really try hard to resist that temptation. But thankfully, we can put our faith and trust in Jesus because he experienced all the same temptations that we experience. But unlike us, Jesus never gave in. He got it right for us, even when we get it wrong. And I hope that helps you understand our scripture passage just a little bit better. Goodbye, everyone.